Hello everyone, today we are going to present the project of Qinghai Tibet Railway. It is an investment to improve travel time, promote tourism, and economic growth. Our groupmates are Dai Rui, Lu Changyu, Xia Wenxin, Yunhui, and I'm Zhang Jiayi. The Qinghai Tibet Railway began construction in June 2001 and was operational by July 2006 in a period of less than 5 years. It is the world's highest railway, which starts from an altitude of more than 4,000 meters above sea level and rises to 5,072 meters at the highest point. At a distance of 1956 kilometers, it effectively links Tibet to the whole of China and brings with it many economic benefits. These are the beautiful scenery of the railroad extension. According to the research, as we can see in this chart, the completion of Qinghai Tibet Railway has contributed to the economic growth of the Tibet Plateau region. And then, let's consider this project from an economic perspective. Transport improvements can be typically contemplated as exogenous intervention in transport markets, which move the economy from one equilibrium to another, commonly through the reduction of generalized price, composed the monetary price, time, and other disutility components borne by transport users. Although there are different reasons that, in principle, could justify these public interventions, for example, increasing accessibility, improving safety, decreasing congestion and scarcity, or reducing negative environmental externalities. The question is not whether there are social benefits from public intervention, but whether these potential benefits are large enough to offset the opportunity costs of the resources diverted from other uses to obtain these benefits. From this project, we distinguish the costs and the benefits of it. The costs are environmental protection, construction costs, and the benefits are railway can bring investment, employment, taxes, and it can reduce the cost of tourism and transportation. The top right corner is a Qinghai Tibet railway ticket. The price is much cheaper than the airline ticket, so it's saving the cost of the travel. And from the supplementary article, we can find out the specific data of these costs and benefits.
Hello, I'm Yunhui. Now let me introduce the first question. It is to discuss the measurements of the value of time saving and their influence on CPA. According to the definition shown on the slide, we would like to discuss two main ways based on these two aspects. Firstly, from the consumer aspect, the first step is to estimate average travel time before and after project implement. In this step, we would like to consider the time saved in different situations, like different weather conditions, different departure locations, and we also need to calculate the changes in the travel time variance and arrival delay. In this case, it takes 42 hours longer to travel to Lhasa by train than by flight. It seems that the transportation project increase the cost of the travelers, but the traveler travel from a city where there isn't a flight to Tibet could go on the Qinghai Tibet railway, so it reduces the cost. Also, the train is less sensitively to the weather, so there is less risk to delay or cancel. The less uncertainty reduces the cost. Then we need to estimate the traveler time units cost value based on different trip categories. First, we need to consider the traveler's condition, like traveler's income is positively correlated to the unit value, delay is positively, and passengers' enjoyment is negatively. So in this case, for those who have enough time to travel, their unit time cost is very low, and the beautiful scenery around the railway can even bring them a net benefit. We also need to estimate shuttle price based on the observed behavior because there is no existing markets for trading travel time. The first way is to conduct a traveler surveys. Another way is to measure behaviors responses by the travelers faced with a trade-off between time and money. In this case, taking the train to Lhasa takes 42 hours longer than flying to Lhasa. So, but it can save 1,617 yuan. So they might value their time at about 38.5 yuan per hour. This calculation is based on the assumption that two-way are equally comfortable and other variables are all the same. So actually, it is not. This might bring in a bias. We can also use an opportunity cost to estimate the cost. In this case, the difference is in the travel time from a certain place before and after the project can be regarded as an opportunity cost of work. According to some research that we can use 50% of the average after tax wage of the travelers. But this method might underestimate the true benefit because it ignores the benefits. We need also to calculate the total value of time saving for the project and apply it to CBA. If the incremental value is positive, we can regard it as a net benefit, vice versa. Similarly, we can also calculate the value from the business aspect. The difference in value in travel time from a certain place before and after the project will reflect on the cargo delivery fee. So the transportation cost by railway is 0.15 yuan per ton lower than that by road. So we can estimate the benefit of time saved for business through the total freight volume of the cargo delivery fee. But this assumes all other variables are the same, so might contain some omitted variables that will bring in bias.
Hello everyone, my name is Changyu and let me introduce the second part of the measurement, compensating variation. We use this method to measure the value of time saving. So first is the step 1, specify the change of social welfare due to a marginal reduction in the travel time. And the increase in the social welfare due to a marginal reduction in travel time is equal to the value of time saving multiplied by the number of trips benefiting from the improvement. And then in the step 2, specify the change of consumers' utility. The change in social welfare can be directly approached as a change in the consumer's utility with the project with respect to the counterfactual. And we can show as this formula below. In this formula, superscript 1 means with project, 0 means without the project, W is social welfare, V is income, J is generalized price of goods and service, YJ is individuals' generalized income. As what we can see in the formula, the social benefit of the project is the difference in the individual's utility. With the project is the first term, and then without the project is the second term. In the step 3, we specify the compensating variation to represent the value of time saving. And the CV, which is compensating variation, is how much money the consumer is willing to pay to enjoy the benefits derived from the reduction in the generalized price of transport due to the project. And we can show in the formula below, it is the formula expression of CV. And in this formula, time saving, which is the main benefit of many transport projects, can be considered as either an increase in delta willing to pay or a positive change in resource. And for the existing traffic, the willing to pay, including time, has not changed, and thus we can consider the value of time saving as a positive change in the resource. Then, suppose the representative individual is asked for his willing to pay to the transport project, disregarding any effect on profit income. The maximum willing to pay CV and the new partial one can be showed in the formula below, which CVP represents the change in the consumer surplus, delta PS represents the change in the firm's profit due to the transport project. And if the income effect is not significant, CVP can be approximated through the change of consumer surplus, and then delta W equals CV, because delta CS apply delta PS. Thus, the social welfare change can be approximated through the sum of the change in the surplus of consumer and producer affected by the project. And that is how we measure value of time saving. And we can apply it into the case. In this case, if we take train travel, the fare is 389, and if we take airplane, the fare is 2,430. And as for the time, the train takes us 48 hours and the airplane takes us 6 hours. Although the flight time of 6 hours is much preferable to a 48 hours journey by train, but the tourists are generally more price sensitive in this case, and they may have lower value of travel time. So the net benefit for the train travel is most likely to be positive rather than the air travel. So in this case, we can conclude that the value of time saving is most likely to be negative.
Hello, I'm Jiayi. Let's move on to the second question, which is how should policymakers treat economy-wide benefits, such as economic growth and increased employment of workers in CBA? To answer this question, there are 3 steps. The first step is to identify and quantify the potential benefits of the project or policy. To identify, the policymakers should decide whose benefits count outstanding. For example, if the policymakers is federal government, they should choose a national level. But for some global organizations, such as United Nations, World Health Organizations, and so on, they should choose a global perspective. In Qinghai Tibet Railway project, although the main beneficiaries of the projects are Tibetan people, the government or the policymakers still choose a global perspective. For example, Chinese government has also built 3 more railway lines, and the third extension links to a major trading town, which is on the China-India border. I think the third extension not only benefits Chinese economy, it can also benefit Indian economy. Secondly, to quantify the benefit, policymakers should catalog benefits and select corresponding measurement indicators. In Qinghai Tibet Railway project, the influx of tourists should be cataloged as a rapid development of tourism, and we could use increased revenue to measure it. And the increased revenue should include increased tax revenue and the increased revenue due to the increased employment. In addition, the greater access to external economies has also brought many investments to Tibet. So we could use increased investment to measure it. After that, policymakers should also predict benefits quantitatively over the life of the project. For example, in Qinghai Tibet Railway project, the policymakers should compare the with railway and no railway alternatives so that we could know which part of investment or which part of revenue is due to the construction of the railway, so that we could quantify the benefits properly. That's all for the first step.
Hi, my name is Wenxin. Today, I'm going to introduce to you the next steps of the second question. The second step is to consider the distribution of the benefits. The policymakers should consider how these benefits will be distributed across different segments of the society. Will it be distributed concentratedly or widely? In the Tibet highway example, the economic benefits mainly come from the lower freight costs and easier conveyance and travel between Tibet and the outside world. The employment benefits mainly come from the booming tourism. The benefits are mainly distributed in residents of Tibet and other towns connected by Qinghai Tibet Railway, travelers to Tibet, the government through tax revenue, the businessmen who travel to and from areas connected to Tibet by rail, and investors who have invested in local facilities. The third step is to consider the cost of the project. To weigh the potential project benefits against the cost of the project, we need to quantify the monetary costs of implementation, and social or environmental costs and opportunity costs associated with the project. We also need to consider the distribution of costs among different segments of society. In Tibet highway example, there are social costs that are mainly possible environmental damage and the money central government spent to build nature reserves, protect forests, and prevent soil erosion. The costs will influence the local residents and government's ecological conservation efforts. The costs are measured by the financial costs of ecological restoration. Secondly, the private costs are mainly the cost of building the railroad and is primarily borne by the government. The costs are measured by the amount of money spent. Finally, the opportunity costs are mainly the potential return on money spent on railroad construction for investment, and the cost is primarily borne by the government. The cost is measured by the return from this money going into other high-yield investments. This is the end of the second question. This is the reference. Thank you for listening today.